And we are live with the Bratton brothers here on a Sunday afternoon. How are you guys doing?
Hey, Matt, doing well.
I'm doing great, Matt. Thanks for having us on the show.
How are you doing, man?
You know, it is so good seeing you guys. I haven't seen you in, what is it, Dave? About 24 hours, right? Is that what we figured out?
Roughly.
It was like yesterday, there was a signing at Dewey's Comic World, which is located in the world famous Joe Kubert School of Art. What an amazing shop. But the signing was for the comic book Isolation. Doug, you want to tell us who all was there?
Yes. And Matt, thank you so much for making the trip out. It was awesome to see you. And fun to hang out afterwards too. The lead artist for Isolation, Delia Gunderson, was there, and two of our variant cover artists, Adam Shermer, who not only did a variant cover for issue 2, but also created Isolation's killer logo. Adam was there, and Beth Sharland, who has done both con exclusive covers that are just gorgeous, and she is also the letterer of Isolation as well. So we had 3 artists and yours truly, and it was a blast.
You know, it was a blast. And before we go too far, I want to acknowledge the chat because there's already some awesome people in here. We have the OG with Tina, Mark Andrews. Good seeing you, Mark. Tina's talking Woodsy and the Brattons. It's always a good day. Our good buddy Trev, the shipping guru. Nobody ships books or anything like Trevor does. He's a mailman. Tina's in here. Mark's in here. Steve White. Okay. Steve White was doing a lot of shoveling because he got a snowstorm just recently. Are your arms tired? Is that what I read, Steve? And this guy right here was there yesterday. You know, Paul Psycho Comics. Yes, I said that for brevity. He is Psychedelic Comics. He is such a good, warm, genuine human being, and I owe you dinner, Paul, for someday in the future. But we have Steve White. Who else is in here? I know I saw Otto from 3 Men in the Basement. He was in here. Here is Jeffrey Cragen, good guy. We met him down at GarageCon, and I think we're all caught up. But Dave, how were you at the signing yesterday? The whole show?
I was. Yeah.
You know, help me out here because yesterday, I drove from Pennsylvania. It was a little over a 4-hour drive. I think GPS it says 4 hours and 2 minutes, but that's not including coffee stops and to pick up gas.
Sure.
Each way.
Each way.
Matt, I do want to let you know that it was nearly a 10-minute drive for me.
10 minutes? Nearly. Not completely.
Not quite. It depends.
And he complained so much about it, Matt.
10 minutes. Come on.
Why did it have to be so far? You could have picked a closer place. Anyhow, I timed me showing up at that signing so that I would catch the back half of it. And I did that intentionally so that there wasn't a big line there. And, I didn't want to get in the way. And listen, if I'm going to drive a few hours, I'm going to, make it worth my while. So I knew I was going to be hanging out there. But how were the crowds? Did the crowds just all of a sudden show up and then die, or what happened?
Honestly, it was crowded the entire time. You don't expect that for anything ever, just because you just don't. And 2 straight hours. I when I went, I was looking forward to I've known Adam since I was 14. And part of why I wanted to go, obviously, to support Doug, support Isolation, all that. But I'm like, oh, cool. I'll probably get to talk to Adam for a little while. Nope. There were people there the entire time. They were signing, they were selling, they were having a great time. It was crowded 2 straight hours. And when you showed up and you're like, oh, I was hoping the crowd would, maybe most everyone came through. Like, sorry, Matt.
Nope.
Nope.
But that was all right. Delia Gunderson, her and I have chatted a little bit on Instagram. I don't mean like we've had long conversations, but we know who each other are.
Yeah.
I was, whenever I walked in there, she saw me and she came up from around the table and came over and gave me a hug. And I just thought that was amazing. But, first, as soon as I walked in the door, I saw Paul Psychedelic Comics, who I met at one of the Bratton Garage Cons, or what do you guys call your comic figures sales?
Comics yard sale.
Yeah, comics yard sale, something. Whatever.
You got to get better at that, okay? We need to get something trademarked,
It's not Garage Con, because that is not TM'd.
That was TM'd. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we got to work on the name of the Bratton Brothers Garage Sale. But anyhow, and then Adam recognized me, and Beth, as the first time Beth and I met each other. It was just a really, really good place. Then I got to check out the comic book shop, and they had some banger comic books up on the wall behind the counter. But do you guys?
That was the first time I met Beth too, Matt. That was the first time I'd met her, and recognized her from Reggie's videos, and introduced myself because Doug forgot to. But
I think everybody I know knows each other. That's how my brain works. So I have to really, really work hard to remember to ever introduce anybody that I know to each other.
He's not lying.
No, it's bad. That and directions. I'm horrible at directions.
Well, here's the truth, okay, Dave? And we're going to talk about some of the accomplishments that Doug has. And when you're up high like Doug is and accomplished like he is, we're just little people, okay?
Speak for yourself. No, I'm just kidding.
It is starting already, okay?
He used to beat me up, so he can put me in my place.
He gave as good as he got. I'll say that. We're only a year and a half apart. Lots of fights.
Matt, there was one time that Dave and I got in a fight because we were so close. We would, we were brothers. We would fight, and my parents were out. And when we were fighting, we broke my dad's reclining chair. And you want to talk about two people who went from worst enemies to best friends like that? We were getting hammers and nails trying to fix it. 2 hours later, our parents come walking in with us leaning over, banging on his chair, trying to fix it.
Hey, what's up, Dad?
So you did not get it fixed in time?
No.
That chair never worked right
never
again.
got fixed.
It was always like, kunk, kunk, kunk.
That is great.
It had a lean.
Yeah.
But I have a brother too, and he always likes to remind people about the time. And I don't think we were actually going to hurt each other, but he reminds people the time that I impaled his chest with a throwing dart that I threw at him. But what he forgets to tell people is he had a knife in his hand and he was coming up the stairs towards me. So no, I truly understand. Brothers, we can have a lot of good fun. So
good violent fun.
Good violent fun. Yes. Actually, that guy, my brother, is probably my best friend right now. So, but I see some more people in here. Comic Journey is here. Brian LCS is here. Bulldog is here. So we got some more people in the chat.
But I think I saw Seth too.
Seth, I see people saying hi to Seth. Here he is. Thank you. Nice catch. But anyhow, so Doug, we're going to talk about a lot of these books, and especially the isolation books. But I have a handful of books here that you have done. Now, I have two actual books that you wrote. And this is one, the Deranged Stalker's Journal of Pop Culture Shock Therapy. This book is freaking hilarious, okay? It really does go down the mind of a madman. So, this is one book. And I have another book in here. And I was telling Dave before you got on, before the show, it's somewhere in this room. And I can't find it, which means I put it somewhere as a permanent display. And I can't find it. I'm going to walk in this room one day and I'll be like, right there it is. So It's here.
I know the book, Comics Remix.
Yes, which has an awesome Conan drawing on it. Okay. So now I heard that Mikey Sutton wrote a comic book. Okay. And two of the best people on YouTube are in that book. Their very first comic book appearance. And it's Doug Bratton and Reggie Collects. Okay. His last name's not Collects, if anyone just curious.
Can't find him in the phone book.
Yeah, I can't find him. He's not under Collect. But anyhow, here's a problem. If you look on this, it's printed by Second Skin Printing. This is issue number 1, but I saw the 2 and thought it was issue number 2 because you're not in issue number 1, are you?
Nope.
What issue are you in?
I am in issue number 2 with Reggie.
So I ended up buying 1, 2, 3 copies because, well, I was sure I was going to throw darts at them or burn them or, make, I don't know, voodoo dolls to do something to them.
That is in pre-production right now. It's like cast, and I think they're getting ready to film. They might even be filming. So hang on to those number 1s.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Purchase, Matt.
Yeah.
No, in all honesty, the reason I bought 3 was because I knew that it was optioned. Okay, because I think you had Reggie or you and somebody had mentioned it online like a day or 2 before I ordered those. So I was like, oh, I'm going to get 3 of those. Now, I do have some smart guides, and I'm just going to go through some of this Doug Bratton stuff that he's done. And Dave Bratton, we're going to talk about you too. In fact, Dave, I'm going to want you to tell a story, but this was the first thing that was printed by Soldier Publishing, okay? This is the guide to smart comic collecting, okay? Love this book. And it's honestly, it's a fun book. It talks all about collecting, whether, and Reggie always says, whether you're a new collector, an old collector, coming back into the hobby, but it really does have something for everybody. And unless you are the most arrogant comic book collector ever, everybody in this hobby knows there's so much to learn. We don't know it all.
Yep.
And this was just a very down-to-earth guide. And there's a lot of different covers. This was a Comic Tom version. And I believe you sent this to me. Did you not, Doug?
I think so, yeah.
I think we made a little drug deal. We traded something. I forget what it was, but you and I have done that a few times over the years. Now,
it was actual drugs, man.
This one. Sorry, Dave?
I said it was actual drugs you sent.
Absolutely. No.
No.
No. Doug Bratton does not sell drugs.
I don't need problems at my front door. Thanks, Dave.
No. But one of my favorite comic book covers of all time is this Jim Steranko version, and mine is signed. I don't know if it shows up in the camera, but
yeah.
Anyhow, that's why I thought this is really cool. I don't know who the artist is on this. Do you know who it is?
Nate Made It. And I'm sorry, that's his, like, how I know him.
Yeah.
That's what he goes by through Instagram. So I'm sure like Collects, Made It might not be his last name, but
it may not be.
May not be the actual name.
Here are 2 other Comic Tom exclusives, and these are the Wizard from Wizard Magazine #1, or an homage to it. Now, Dave, tell us the story of this cover right here to the same book.
Yeah, I drew that. No, so there's a little bit more to it than that. So actually what I did is I'd had that as an idea. And when we went down to GarageCon, before we went down, I actually did the drawing. I sent it off to Adam Shermer, and I asked him to do the digital painting because that's not my wheelhouse. That's not my skill set. I can draw. I'm not much of a painter. So Adam put together, the beautiful colors on that cover. And what I did is I took it to GarageCon and I put it in a bag and board. And I took the original art and I gave it to Reggie as a gift. And I presented it like it was a comic book. and gave him the original art. I just thought it'd be a kind of a cool thing to do for him. I can't lie. There's a part of me that's kind of like, I hope he would want to use this as a cover for something like that. And, after talking to Doug about it, he's like, you know what, just give it to him. Don't even bring that up. Just leave it. If Reggie thinks it's right for something, he'll let you know. I'm like, awesome. Perfect. And if not, that's okay. It's a gift. It's just something I hope he enjoys.
It's amazing.
And then not long after that, Doug, do you want to, I know Reggie had been thinking a different cover at one point.
Yeah. And I don't want to speak out of school. So there was a, there was another cover that he was working on of a popular comic and working with the company to try and get permission. Right. And there was just, I think, a lot of red tape, and it was, he needed to get moving on a second printing. So,
yeah. So then Reggie reached out and he's like, hey, we're looking at a second printing. How do you feel about, us using your and Adam's creation for the cover? And I was like, that sounds awesome. So yeah, it was really exciting to have that, happen. And one of the cool things about all of this is when Doug and I were kids, we would create comic books together. Like literally we produced 5 issues of a comic book called Justice Force. And these comics were like 20 pages in length, and they're like, when I say produced, I mean photocopies, stapled together, that kind of stuff.
You went all out.
We did. And the cool thing is, I got to make something with my brother again, and that just such a gift to get to do that. And I think that cover was pretty well received. I think people liked it.
Oh yeah.
And it's based on an Alex Ross Black Adam painting. Spoiler alert, Alex Ross is a better artist than I am.
I don't know if that's true.
But I was really pleased with how it came out, and a lot of that has to do with Adam's digital painting too. Adam Shermer did a great job with it.
And Matt, I just want to give a shout out to our grandpa, who was our first publisher. He would he had a Xerox machine back in the old days at his work and would make copies of our comic for us. And he just turned 99, and Dave and I were in Florida in February to celebrate his 99th birthday with him.
That is awesome. Okay. Yeah. And I've heard stories, about him over the years, and he's definitely, a great man. He's clearly impacted both your lives, but it's really cool that he was your first publisher.
That's right. Yep.
Were you selling these books at school or anything?
Yeah, the first copy.
Yeah.
We actually, not so much at school, but for any New York Giants fan out there, our father served as a Protestant chaplain for the team, and their defensive end, George Martin, who's a phenomenal player, he was our first customer. He looked at it and he said, I'll buy one of these for $5.
Whoa.
And we were like, $5? Oh my God. And so we spent hours coloring it, and it was awesome. He was our first customer.
That is actually really cool.
And George Martin was a great football player and as an even better person. So
human being.
Yeah, worth looking him up sometime and seeing some of the amazing things. He walked across the country after September 11th to raise money for the Victims Fund.
Yeah,
literally walked across
the
entire United States.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long walk. But hey, Seth has a question. What were the title of the comic books that y'all created?
Justice Force. In no way a total ripoff of Justice League.
No, not at all. And
Never.
I want to acknowledge our good buddy up here, Pretty Fly, who's already talking smack on you, Dave.
I see. I've noticed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but,
we're gonna have words, Pretty Fly. All those links to action figures you want, they're not coming your way anymore, buddy.
The DC watch party is going to be having a fist fight going on here.
Matt, I don't know if you can highlight it, but I think Pretty Fly nailed it. Dave is a gifted crater.
Orator.
Right here he is.
Oh, orator. Oh, I'm sorry. My
There we
bad
go.
eyes.
Orator.
I thought he was putting creator and left out the E, and I thought it was funny. Sorry. that didn't land. My bad.
No, it was a good
Orator. Okay, I'll give him that.
I am going to point out when Doug and I have our pretty much daily phone conversations, it's about 85 Doug, 15 me when it comes to the talking.
Whoa. See, I would never guess that. I figured Dave would be the big talker in that one. Nope. Dave's like not even close. But
No.
so here is issue 2 of the Smart Guide to Comic Collecting. And this one's signed. Somebody put a bunch like big X on it, and then under my finger. Wait, no, it isn't. It's over this shoulder. Doug Bratton decided to sign that. So I don't touch that one. That one never comes out of the bag. And one more thing I want to show off to just get people realize that Doug Bratton is a legit artist, writer, creator. This was part of the Kickstarter. This was a script for Isolation #1. And guys, I'll be honest, I think I talked about in a different video, but I've been reading comic books, for 40 years, okay? Even though I haven't been collecting for 40 years, I can remember back in the early 80s reading comic books. I've never read a script. I've actually kind of wondered, like, how do they give it to the artist so that the artist knows what to draw? I knew that there had to be something similar to a screenplay that, directors, screenwriters do for directors. So the storyboards. I'm like, there has to be something there. And I didn't know if the writer kind of like penciled out a rough draft of what they wanted. But as I'm reading this, I'm already envisioning in my head what type of picture and what type of scene it needs to be drawn in each panel. And like, that was a nice, cool insight that I've never seen. Doug, where did you first see something like that?
Every once in a while, they'll publish scripts in the back of a trade or a scene from a script. So that's probably the first place I saw it. But when I first, before Isolation, wanted to write comic scripts, I kind of did online research, and I found there's a writer, Fred Van Lente. He's written a lot of indie stuff. I think he's written a couple things for some of the bigger publishers. I knew him he wrote a series called Action Philosophers and the Comic Book History of Comics, which is awesome book, worth a read. But Fred Van Lente had kind of a writer's blog, and he put up a sample format because there isn't an industry standard. So people just kind of, have to figure out how they want to do it. So he actually published like a Word template that kind of does the layout and the margins for the panels and the actual dialogue. And I have used that for any script that I've written.
Okay. Well, you know what? It was unique for me, and I was really, really enjoying that. There's someone else in the chat I want to recognize, and I can't find him. Richard Veith, okay? Mentioned that he didn't read a comic book until the until the late 80s, and I'm all about the early 80s. Richard, I'm older than you would think I am. But I'm a retired man, okay? How old do you have to be retired, right? So
yes, Matt is 67 years old.
67 years old. Yes, I am, okay? But I just need to shave, that's all. I'd look younger. But here's what I want this show, want to evolve in here. I think I have every cover of the comic book series Isolation. Now, guys, I am a completist type of a collector. I like to collect entire runs. And now that we're having all these variant copies, I'm not silly enough to think that I'm not silly enough or wealthy enough to collect every variant of every title that I collect. But there's a handful of titles I really truly do try to get them all. Conan the Barbarian is one. In fact, any Conan book, I try to get every single cover. But I'm all about trying to get to isolation covers. And that one's an achievable goal because, well, there just aren't that many. Okay. So, what I want to know, a little bit of backstory about what happened in these covers and how they got created. This is one. Now, Reggie was going to send me another cover. I won a contest or something on one of his shows, and he was going to send me a different ash can, and I think there's only 100 of these. And I told him, please don't, because I want other people to have them. Yeah. But is there 100? Is that the right number?
Yep, there were 100 printed. And they were originally done as like a teaser promotional before issue 1 came out. So a certain number of them went to local comic shops, kind of to entice interest. A certain number of them went to like YouTubers to help gain interest and to promote Isolation before it came out. And then there was, a certain number left that Reggie used as giveaways and things like that for contests to also promote Isolation. But yes, there are 100 of those in existence.
Yeah, it was kind of an honor whenever I opened up the mail and I saw that he sent me one of the promotional ones. But hey, Pretty Fly, go take care of the lovely peeps. And he's just showing love for the Bratton Bros. And well, he just wanted to say hi to me. Thanks, buddy. But no, that was actually, like I said, that was a heck of an honor that it showed up like that because there's only 100 of them in the world. Now, this, and I'm not going to show too much, but whenever I ordered my copies of Isolation 1, there were some copies that I guess were damaged. Mm-hmm. And Reggie tore the cover off because he doesn't want to sell anything under a 9.8, which I wish my local comic shop was like Reggie because I get all kinds of books with all kinds of dings and dents in them. But so he sent me one without a reader copy, if you will, without the cover. And that was all right. Now, who is the artist for this one? And how did this cover? This is cover A. And this is issue 1. There is a print run of 2,900 of this cover A.
Yep, that's Delia Gunderson. That is just an amazing, talk about knocking it out of the park your first at bat. She just crushed that cover.
And she has Maggie reflected on the axe hand or the axe blade.
Mandy, Mandy Connors, yep.
And she, like you said, just hit it right out of the park with the first issue. Okay,
that's a gorgeous cover.
Yep, that was very inspired by like 80s horror movie posters. So,
oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I can see that. Little Jason Voorhees action right here.
That was her inspiration.
Now, listen. We all collect, okay? And if anyone says that whenever they are displaying their collection, if they think for 2 seconds they are not bragging, they're lying to themselves. Right now, Matt Woods is completely bragging because he has one of these first 25 stickers on here. So guess how many of these bad boys exist in the world?
Although, and Matt, I do not have that comic. So you have an Isolation comic that I do not own.
Ooh, the writer doesn't own it.
That's right.
Yeah. But I joke about that, but there is a little bit of like, okay, if I have every single Isolation cover out there, there's only 25 people in the world that can match me at the most. So I think I'm pretty much in a small standing here with people that have them all. There might be someone else or two.
Oh, I just saw Adam Shermer pop up.
Oh, Adam.
Hey, Adam.
What's up, Adam?
Yeah, he is here. It was really good meeting him yesterday. Just a nice gentleman, you know, firm handshake, just a pleasant human being. And it seemed like Adam had a lot of family there yesterday. So it was good to meet him.
Adam's a great guy, and a lot of people wanted to turn out to support him in his first cover signing. So it was awesome.
Was that?
Yeah, it's very cool.
So issue B with 750. This is a 1 in 10 variant. Okay. Who was the artist for this one?
Edgar Del Real.
Yes.
It was the penciler. And then Dakota, I'm going to butcher Dakota's last name. Sorry, Dakota, from the Kubert School, digitally painted the cover.
You know, I am a Conan the Barbarian fan. And when I'm seeing an homage, okay, forgive me, I'm not sure which is right, but when I'm seeing an homage to Frank Frazetta's Death Dealer, I'm already, hooked. Okay. So you can't top Frank Frazetta in my mind. And so this is just such a really cool cover. I love having this out here. And that was issue B. Why did the Death Dealer, why did you guys want to do the homage to the Death Dealer, which is, like I said, a Frank Frazetta painting?
So true story. Reggie's a big fan of homage covers. I am not, for different reasons. It's just different tastes, but
personal choice.
I knew Reggie wanted to do an homage cover, and I didn't want to do one that was kind of, that had been done a lot, but I knew it needed to be a recognizable image. And I was familiar. I'm very familiar with Frank Frazetta's works, and loved the Death Dealer, and thought because of the man on horseback holding the axe that it would work well with the character the Visitor. So I kind of threw it out to Reggie, and he was like, oh, that could look really, really cool. And then the funny thing is, I think like 2 days after he commissioned that cover, it came out that whoever owns the rights to Frazetta's estate was publishing a comic based on Death Dealer. Yes. So we suddenly had this serendipitous timing of promoting it. So which was really cool.
See, I'm not gonna lie. I just like to think you guys did it because you knew I was gonna buy it, and I'm a Conan fan. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Everything else he said is wrong, but Dave, I know Doug doesn't really care for the homage covers, but I would have allowed you to go back to your 11-year-old self and beat your punk kid brother up just for almost not going with that. But, now, this is a 1 in 25 variant of Isolation #1. This is another Delia Gunderson. What inspired this one?
When we brainstormed cover ideas, one was to have the Visitor kind of like lurking, and then in the black having an image either of, spoiler alert if you haven't read Isolation, the dude holding the axe in headlights, or one of the British intelligence and police investigators who was going through the house. And Delia, because she had the idea of the axe with the reflection, we didn't want to overkill that idea. So she was like, instead of that character being in the black, I'm going to have that character behind the Visitor. So, and that was kind of how this one came to be.
Now, this comic book, the first issue is very, and I've heard other people say this term, very noir, okay? Was that something that you had? And did you have the same image in your head of what this comic was going to turn out to be before Delia started drawing it? Or did she add something extra to it that you weren't ready for?
So it's kind of yes to both. I definitely envision the opening scene being very noir, like, you know, the guy coming through the door with the gun in the dark with the light, you know, like that just screams noir, and going through the apartment in the dark with
Room
the
by room,
flashlight.
yes.
Yeah. But what Delia really brought to the table is, when I think noir, I think of stark black and white, like hard blacks with, you know, shadows with
Mickey
some white.
Spillane or
And Delia, because she's such an amazing painter, was like, I think I can do that vibe, but do it in a grayscale painting. And the depth that brought out is, I mean, in all of her work, but in particular, that opening scene where they're walking through the house and through the library, it's like you could reach your hand into the page and like touch the back wall of the room. It was incredible.
she did an exceptional job with it. And you're right. It almost like, listen, we're friends, okay? Everyone in the chat, if you don't know, the Bratton brothers and I are good friends. And I don't want to sell this as, oh, my friends wrote a comic book and it's amazing. No, it's an amazing comic book that just happened to be written by a buddy of mine, Doug. Okay. So it's a truly, truly special read. And everything he's saying about it is right. It has a feel of depth when you're reading it. And I don't know if it's the picture quality, or forgive me, the page quality of the production, because this is a very, very well produced book. I mean, the covers are glossy, they're thick, thick stock paper. The image, the art is amazing. And I used to think I wouldn't like a black and white comic book, but I've read all the Savage Sword of Conan books. Those were all black and white. The Walking Dead comic book was all black and white originally. They're doing these reprints, but they're, so black and white can add something to it. And the old black and white, or the directors, whenever the movies were black and white, they used that shading to enhance different scenes, to where whenever I remember the 80s, Ted Turner used to colorize all these movies and like, oh, please not anymore. They ruined it. They took away the director's artful aspect of it. But so no, she really did put 3D to it. Dave, when you read these, do you have that same impression of like there's just depth to the story?
Oh yeah. See, I'm very fortunate that I know the story, the whole story. And so it's fun reading them in the comic book form. That's a total blast. But it's also kind of fun. I mean, I remember Doug, before he'd written it, like telling me these ideas he had, and I'm thinking about this, and a story that involves these certain elements, and so I kind of got to be a fly on the wall as it was being created, which was really awesome. And I'm very fortunate. Look, I'm Doug's brother, so I'm going to support him. I'm his biggest fan. At the same time, I'm honest about quality, and Doug's doing a really good job with this, as are the artists. And it's really cool. And I don't know if this is talking out of school, little Doug. You can hush me if I am. Like, I had the privilege of I've essentially been an editor for Doug for 20 plus years. On
Justice Force.
Yeah, on his
Pop Culture Shock Therapy.
Shock Therapy. He'd send me them. I read them. Oh, hey, there was a misspelling in this one, or what about this concept? And and you know what? And I got to read this entire essentially manuscript in novel form before it even took this form, and it's really good. and it's going to go some really cool directions. So, I'm excited to see what you guys think as you're reading it, and I love that it's a comic book. That's one of my favorite mediums. So to see Doug's story in that form is a thrill.
Now, I do have that script, okay? And we're going to get back to the books and the covers here soon, but I think this could be a novel with not a whole lot extra. I mean, you would have to change the scenes and, write out what everyone's going to see, but it's close to being a novel as it is. But so this right here, this is the, whoa, here we go. Oh, that's a little too close. You don't want to see my face that close. But anyhow, right here is the Patreon version. I believe there's 100 copies of this. And this just doesn't have the trade dress. But somehow I ended up having 2 of these. Now, I know how. That was another deal that we had, Doug. Yes.
I think you ordered me a copy. Yeah.
Yeah. But so right here, I have a manufactured variant. Okay. This is cover E. This was a 1 in 30. There's a 250 print run. This book, it is the same image as cover A, but this is glossy. Okay. Tell us about this one and how it pops.
So that was the first copy to sell out, to my knowledge. That thing sold out. I think once people saw the quality of it.
And I will tell you on camera here, on Instagram photos, it doesn't do it justice. How this book
it's
just
a beautiful
pops.
book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I think was the thing that put that one over the top, we had thought, okay, let's do a virgin variant. And the idea of having some sort of foil or gloss over it was always kind of the, like, let's enhance it. But the thing that I think put it over the top was Scott, who does the pre-press work and works with the printer, had seen like this matte black finish with spot gloss. And was like, I think that would really, really pop. And we're like, hey, let's go with that. And to me, I've seen a lot of cool, shiny foil covers.
Yeah.
But the stark contrast of that matte black with that pearl iridescent, kind of sheen foil over it is just, I mean, it's
like it's
incredible.
On fire,
it's gorgeous.
okay?
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
As I wave it in the light, like it really does. Sparkle. Now, so Scott picked it perfectly, if you ask me. But
oh yeah,
why I say I have a manufactured variant? This was
no signatures.
Yeah, this was sent to you, Delia, and Reggie, all signed in different spots. No signatures.
Mm-hmm.
I had to finagle to get this one without a signature, but. Did you sign? I mean, almost 250 of those?
We did. Sorry, I'm like, right before I got on, I got a glass of water and I'm thirsty. I'm chewing ice.
This is where you fill in, Dave.
No, so we did all of the ones. Reggie would ship them up to New Jersey. Delia and I would sign them and I'd ship them back. So obviously had to ship him in batches. So there were a couple like that he held back. And I think when you spoke with him and said you were interested in a clean one, I think he kind of held one back for you. So that was a good call.
Yes. See, so how many people have an unsigned one of those with every cover with the first 25 sticker? See, my exclusivity is getting better and better.
You got 2 I don't have.
Now, this was a con variant. Okay, you signed this in San Diego.
Oh.
And it has a first 25 sticker.
You didn't bring that with you yesterday, did you?
No.
Next time we'll get Beth to sign it.
She's the artist.
Yeah.
Woo!
The artist.
I didn't even think about that.
There will be another signing. Just next time.
There will
file
be
it
more.
away. Yep.
You guys are just trying to get me to drive New Jersey, aren't you?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Now, people in the chat, if you look at a map of North America, you'll see that Pennsylvania and New Jersey share a border. It's called the Delaware River. I live on the other side of Pennsylvania, okay? I'm not near Philadelphia. I'm near Pittsburgh. So it's a haul for me. And if you're in a New England state like Rhode Island, yeah, a state across means nothing. But Pennsylvania is a pretty wide state from east to west. So, yeah, they're just trying to get me to drive out there. But no, Beth did an amazing job with this con variant. Love this. And I don't know. 400 is a print run of this. Now, I don't want to ask that question. But sometimes you think of a question, you're like, maybe I don't want to ask it. But this was a Steve Conge variant with Comic Book Cartel. They sold it. I don't know what the print run of this was. I
think it was 500.
Okay.
Yep.
I was thinking 300, but 500.
Yep.
And like my 300, it was just the number I had in my head. But I was like, I don't think that's right. But this is a pretty cool cover that he did himself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, an homage to Tomb of Dracula #1, a black and white variant and a color variant that was given away by Comic Tom, who has his mystery box, or what are they called?
Mystery mail call.
Mystery mail call. I was like, I know it's MMC, but I just couldn't remember what it was. But these were tucked away in those mystery mail calls that Comic Tom does.
What's the run on that, Doug? How many?
I think that I don't know between the two different prints, but I think overall there were somewhere in the 2,300 range, but I don't know exactly. I think if you're a subscriber, you can look it up. He publishes the print run.
Okay.
And Matt, I will say, for someone who is not a huge homage fan, I thought Tomb of Dracula, like, it was a fun idea. It was fun. It was a fun idea.
I mean, it's not a vampire story. At least I don't think so. I've only gone through issue 3, but
no.
It's just
zombies show up in issue 4.
Issue 4, yes. You gotta love vampires. But all right, so I think that's all the covers for issue #1. I love the stories that are that go with it, but let's start working on issue #2. Okay. This is cover A with a large print run all on its own.
Yep.
And who did the cover of this?
Delia Gunderson again. And she, we decided after the first one that we liked the theme of reflection. Now, obviously, it would get
show the reflection in the eyeball.
Yeah.
The best I can with the camera. And maybe I need to switch me over here so that we can see it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Matt, this might be giving you some exclusive information. We got
to put you up here, Big, then, if this is an exclusive.
Breaking news.
So, with the covers, we love the reflection. I think Delia and I both feel that it will get repetitive if we try and do it forever. But we were like, okay, the first 4 issues of Isolation are really act 1 of book 1. If there's going to be a trade, the first trade would be the first 4 issues, then the next 4, and then the final 4 as a third trade. And so Delia and I kind of have like our own little, let's make the first 4 kind of in that reflection theme. And then let's, if it's successful enough to continue beyond that, let's come up with kind of another theme for the next 4. I have an idea, but I haven't bounced it off Delia or Reggie yet, so I'm not gonna bring that up. But so hopefully issue #4, you'll see kind of the last of the theme covers that you also, even though 3 isn't physically out yet, I know you've digitally read it and you've seen the cover.
Yes, and I obviously I'm not going to show that yet, just because exclusivity and all that stuff. I don't want to put that out there.
You could share the cover, but
okay. But so here is. Oh, let me get big. Whoa, we'll flip me over here. Okay, here is cover 8 isolation. But again, one of those first 25 stickers. Now, I only think he's done the first 25 stickers for 4 books so far. And one he hasn't done yet. The cover A for issue number 1, the exclusive or the con exclusive, and cover A of issue number 2. And so I'm doing a pretty good job of getting those. And also with issue number 3, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a first 25 sticker. But
yeah, I'm sure.
Now, Adam, who is in the chat, he did this cover. And what makes this really cool is you can see the face in the background, and it's not showing up great on the camera, but this image right here is just menacing. Okay. I don't know how he made that, just the perfect shade where it wasn't too dark and it wasn't too in the forefront. But tell us about this cover.
So I was incredibly thrilled when Adam said that he wanted to take a shot at a cover, and Reggie was like, "Yep, let's do it." Yeah. Adam and I, man, you should have Adam on the show sometime and just have him talk through the sketches, because he probably had at least a half a dozen different concepts for the cover, and they were all so good. Like one of the other ones, we almost, if there was one more cover, we might have had somebody else do another one of his ideas. They were that good. But ultimately, Will Trenlow, who's a very important character, was not on a cover yet. And one of the things that we were very intentional about with issue 2 is, I believe, each cover is a first appearance of an important character to the story. Yeah. So Adam went with Will Trenlow. It's just an awesome, just such a cool cover. The one thing that Adam and I talked about, and really this was all his like vision and artwork, but he's such a great graphic designer that I was like, if there's any way you can kind of bring that graphic design flair to the cover, like that I would love to see. And I think he did it perfectly by, instead of just traditionally coloring the character, using that very stark, like 2 reds, a white and a gray, as that tied in with the logo and the the bad guy in the background with the slightly glowing red eyes. Just unbelievable cover.
Now, Seth makes a perfect comment. And guys, I don't want to do a spoiler. I don't want to get into the story, but you can tell that Seth is a fan of this story just by his comment. He's not a fan of the guy holding the gun, because if you just look at the cover, you don't know if that's a good guy, a villain, or just some random person. But Seth is clearly a reader of Isolation just by, a very, well-intended comment there. But now, just yesterday, I got, again, Matt Woods being a bragger. I wanted Delia to do a remark. And even though this isn't Delia's cover, I knew it was Adam's, it has a lot of negative space. And Delia's like, well, what do you want me to draw? And I'm like, you're the artist. Go to town, use your vision, whatever you want. And she did this awesome remark of Maggie. And I just can't get enough of just how cool this is. Let me big screen myself up here.
That was awesome. Mm-hmm. I got to watch her draw it. And
see, and I walked away from her just so that I wasn't bothering her. There was a lot of people there too, and
Yeah.
I didn't want to be in their way. But you got to watch her draw this.
Yeah, I've been when we do the covers, I don't like in any way shape or form like sit over her shoulder while she works, but when we have our cover meetings where we discuss concepts, she'll like put her syntax or whatever digital thing that she uses for roughs on the screen, and in real time will like sketch out unbelievable ideas in real time. It's super fun to watch.
Yeah. Adam has a nice comment here. Amazing recap, Doug. Thank you. Part of my intent here was to literally depict the feeling of the word isolation.
And if you go down a couple more comments, Adam gets further into it too.
Yep. Showing a man in a tight spot, going against the grain and standing up to evil in a situation where not a lot of people might have his back. Well, so Adam did a fabulous job with that. And he likes the remark. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But so here is a different cover. And this is a different type. I don't know if this would qualify as Art Deco, but I get that feeling of it. It's different than noir, okay?
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of the pictures of the Okies that's made famous from the Great Depression, the Dust Bowl. But what's the story behind this cover?
So Elena Morton, who's Delia's artist assistant, who helps with like layouts and cleanups and backgrounds and stuff like that, we wanted her to get a cover because she's a very talented artist, obviously in her own right. Yes. And she picked the character of Alexandra who is introduced, not necessarily by name, but introduced in issue 2. You get to see what happens in issue 2 through the eyes of Alexandra and River, and who are very important characters in the story of Isolation. And Elena just has a amazing design sense. And so she took the background images. For those who have read the issue, there's kind of like these 2 side stories running along the bottom, one involving a rabbit and one involving a knife. And she took those images and created like a pattern behind Alexandra, which was really smart, and it looks amazing.
This is it's a very striking cover. I love this. I say that it's a striking cover. It's amazing. They're all really good covers. They truly are. There's a great artist team working on this. Beth did another one for issue number 2, and she just posted on Instagram like the process of how she made this cover. Such a cool. I mean, she did the one in issue number 1, the con exclusive, and
just
then
incredible.
This one
here.
It's an amazing cover.
Yes.
Beth is unbelievably talented. So that's the first appearance of the governor, who's kind of like the guy who runs Isolation. Not a good guy.
No,
and Beth, both for issue number 1 and issue number 2. I mean, her covers are works of art. And the funny thing is, when we were deciding kind of like what variant covers to do for issue number 1, I forget if it was Reggie or I, but one of us had seen on her Instagram, she did this like amazing portrait that was very emotionally evocative. It wasn't, it had that, I don't want to say abstract, but less realism feel to it. But it had such depth and feeling. So we approached Beth and said, hey, can you do that, but for characters of Isolation? Yes. And I mean, she's knocked it out of the park both times.
But awesome. She really did do a great job. But this, I got this sticker at GarageCon. And again, the first 25, but I asked Reggie to not put it on the book itself, just in case I ever want to send it off to CGC. And I don't know if I will, but I have that option now where the other ones
green label.
Come back to green label, I believe.
Yeah, they will.
I got another one of these covers, and Beth signed it. It's not really showing up well.
Yep.
Well, let me. Yeah, there it is.
There we go.
It shows up a little bit better. So, yeah, Beth did a nice signing on that one. Now, I was standing right next. Dave and I were down at GarageCon last fall. We were talking to Reggie, and Reggie was standing back by the table that he signs his books at, and we noticed something different. Dave, do you remember whenever we saw this book?
Yeah, I mean, I do, and it was definitely the color scheme was different, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you and I couldn't figure out what was going on with this book. Like, it just looked different.
Yeah,
but we couldn't figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Secret variant. Reggie never announced that one, but Beth had done kind of like her clean version, and then she wanted to give us like a grittier option. And Reggie was like, "Hey, they're both amazing. Let's just do that as like a secret variant that goes out." So
has he ever announced that this secret variant was out there?
I don't think so, unless he mentioned it on a live stream. I don't think it's. I don't think we've really ever discussed it publicly. So and it might be, maybe he posted on the website and I missed it. But if you got that blood drop copy, that's a low print run secret variant of issue number 2.
A pretty cool cover, but I like the backstory with it. But now the last covers, and I have a few of them. Okay, there's a non-signed. I forget what cover this was. It was cover. I have it written down. Cover F. But actually, I have 2 unsigned ones.
Nice.
But this was signed by Reggie and Doug Bratton. But so again, is this the Scott, the printer? Was this his idea to go this way, or did you guys go to him after seeing the results of issue number 1?
So basically, the issue number 1 was so incredible. We're like, that we're going to do as long as we're doing this comic and people will support it, we're going to do that as the premium, the reggiecollects.com exclusive premium, because it's just such an incredible look. So
yeah. So guys, those are the covers of issue 1 and 2. And I think we got them all. Okay. There's probably 1 or 2 out there that nobody knows about. So,
that I don't know about.
Yeah. So, and if that's the case, now I'm mad about it. But I really appreciate you guys coming on tonight. Dave, do you want to tell us about DC Watch and what's coming up with that show?
Sure. Thanks, Matt. Yeah. Some of you may know that I'm on a show with Pretty Fly and Anachronic Comics called DC Watch, and we kind of talk all things DC. And in the next, I think it's this Wednesday, we have a video coming out called Shazam versus the MCU. So if you want to give it a view, a look, we'd be grateful if you checked it out. I think you'll find it entertaining and interesting.
I'm gonna make it there. Mark Andrews, really, Dave? Never seen it, but I love Tina Carenson's remark here. The OG. I'm waiting for a Dave Bratton cover. We're gonna have to make that happen, but
you never know what the future holds. You never know.
Hey, if people keep supporting Isolation and we can keep putting these out for the public and we can build up a readership, there were going to be more opportunities for more covers. I'll say that.
Yeah.
That
keep
is
supporting the comic. please.
You know, I'm already giddy with that type of news because I like to support great creators, and there's 2 of them in a panel here tonight. So fingers crossed on that one. But,
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah.
But hey guys, Dave, forgive me, Doug, did you have any parting shots or parting words?
Let's see. I think in May I think we're going to be doing 2 appearances. One at the Phillipsburg Con in Pennsylvania, and one at the 3 Men in a Basement comic swap in Connecticut. So we're finalizing the details of who's there, but more news to come. That's a couple of months away. But that's next up on the docket, and fingers crossed for Isolation number 4. And I hope when everybody gets issue number 3, they absolutely love it.
Can't wait for that to happen. So now there is a Phillipsburg that is about 30 miles from me, but it's not the same Phillipsburg that you're talking about. That Phillipsburg is near you.
I think it's near Allentown. Yeah, it's east. Yeah.
Different town altogether. But guys, it was absolutely great talking to both of you. Dave, thanks for humoring us with your brother. And I now think there's going to be a new internet story about your dad's broken recliner chair. But wonderful time talking, guys, and everyone in the chat. I appreciate everybody. I thank everyone for watching, and you guys have a great night. Peace out.